So, welcome everyone to our final for the year Psychosomatic Conversations. Today's topic is Beyond the Symptom, Reframing and Responding. And we are delighted that we are with you today just to share a little bit more around our psychosomatic series. And we appreciate each and every one of you who is here with us today or listening to this recording. Before we start today, and obviously I'm here with Christy and Sean, so I'll get them just to say hello. But
Hello.
before we start into the full conversations, we will be doing a little bit of a meditation. So, Christy, you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. I love seeing familiar faces here and new faces. This is going to be a great conversation, especially going into the holiday season, which we've already entered. And may we enter it with grace and ease.
Yes, please.
And
May you include yourself.
Yes, may we and I. Yes.
Mm.
and Sean, you're going to do a body scan with us today.
Yeah, we'll start with the body awareness, just so we can really create some focus within who we are. So sit back, feel comfortable, settle in. You can close your eyes if you like, so you can go inward, just noticing your body. Even if you consider yourself looking down into the body. Let's take a breath in and out. In again. Notice where the breath is going. Notice whether it's enjoyable to have the breath come in. Notice whether it's under any strain. Breathe out. And another breath into your belly, into your chest, into your upper shoulders and back. And out again. Noticing your heartbeat. And we're just going to have a little journey through the body with each breath. So breathing in, noticing your toes, all 10 toes on both feet. With your next breath in, noticing your toes and your feet and your ankles, breathing into those places and spaces. And out. Breathing into your toes, your feet, your calves and your knees. And out. Breathing into your toes, your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, and your thighs. And out. Breathing into the entirety of both legs at the same time. And out. Breathing in, connecting with both legs at the same time. Breathing into your hips, your belly, your groin. And breathing out. Breathing in, legs, hips, lower back, belly, and out again. Breathing into the lower part of your body, and then up into the sides of your ribs, your back, your chest, and out. Breathing into your legs and your torso, your shoulders and arms. Breathing in to your legs, your torso, your shoulders, your arms, and your hands and fingers. Breathing in to your legs, your torso, your arms, your neck, face, and head. Breathing into your entire body all at the same time. And another. And gently resting into that. See if you can stay in touch with your entire body whilst we speak. Thanks, Linda.
That was beautiful, Sean. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Always love your meditations.
Very welcome.
So this series has really been about the exploration of how will symptoms appear in the body? Is it real or is it perceived? And then taking a look also at the activation of psychosomatic symptoms. So today we're just going to explore a little bit further and take a look at, well, the symptoms are there, the pain might be there, but how do we reframe? How do we also release? And so the practical demonstrations or giving you some tools to work with, as well as continuing conversations is really important. And some of the best ways to do that is through questions that you already may have. And we normally do the Q&A at the end, but we want to allow sufficient time for any questions that you might have about awareness around any of your own pains, any of your own activations, so that we can assist you in that process as well. So could I ask anyone that may have some questions just to come off, so take yourself off mute, and you could also put a question in the chat as well. And just whilst you're thinking about that, this particular topic is one of the most, I think, fundamental topics within the psychosomatic framework, because we look at patterns in psychosomatics, we look at behaviors, we look at how people are in terms of their gifts, challenges, their conflicts, their posture, their breathing, their flexibility, and all of that shows up. But when we start to take a look at psychosomatic related diseases and illnesses, we're actually taking a look also at the environment in which those conditions are created. And as we understand those conditions further, we get to understand how it would be if we changed some of the environmental conditions or our internal environment. And this is what we're going to explore further. So I can see we've got a couple of questions popping in. And Sean, can I ask you to take the first question that may have popped up
Sure.
there?
Hi, Michelle. Pins and needles. The heaviness of limbs and the dullness. And underneath that is muscle contractions. So when we notice the relationship that we're having with our limbs, we need to notice that when they're in their greatest vital space, we're actually pain-free and we're quite strong to be able to pick up and move quite freely. So pins and needles is looking at the nervous system. Yeah, because it's the nerve endings that are creating an overactivity. So when the nerve endings are running high like that, then we also know that we need to do some movement. We also need to do some experiences that calm the system. But also, it's a matter of noticing where in the body is it, and what is my relationship to those places and spaces. Often we experience pins and needles primarily in the peripheral, so in the hands and feet, and that experience is also about our connection with the outside world, allowing us to touch what's out there and allowing what's out there to come into us, to touch us. And so when we look at muscular contractions around that as well, then we also know there's a bracing that's going on, because muscle contractions go into spasms and they lock. And so that's a bracing experience. So in amongst the conversation that I'm having, you will already be able to notice your own relationship with that experience. So one, the bracing, and two, the pins and needles. So there's a withdrawal that's happening. Yeah, there's a toning down or a turning down of the experience of touch. Christy.
Thank you, Sean. We all have such different perspectives, and I love hearing the perspective. So thank you. When I read and see pins and needles, limb heaviness, dullness, muscle contractions, the messages that are coming through are high, because you can't really ignore them, because they have your attention. And I think that's key with what we're talking about today is my body's trying to get my attention through certain signals. The next one we have is a stiff middle back. And I see that one quite a bit in my practice. And for looking at the mid backs, this is the front, exactly in the back, we're looking at the heart chakra area, the heart center. And a lot of times what I see with that stiff middle back is sometimes a tendency to self-criticize your own self, in the not keeping your heart open for yourself. And what people, how we present our heart to people in general, I'm putting quotes around that, is we want to have an open heart, and we open our shoulders, and people can feel our expression through our hearts. When there's a stiffness in the back right behind it, there's a tendency to hold back compassion for self. The back represents things we put behind us. So we'll deal with them another day in somatic work. So to tune into your back, if it continues to be stiff, one of the phrases of give yourself a pat on the back. There may be a tendency of waiting for someone else to give you the pat. Can you do that for you? Your body is asking you to pay attention to something that is missing, which is probably rest, noticing, and compassion for the stiff middle back. So thank you for entering that in the chat.
Yeah. And just to add to that as well, when we're looking at the spine representing our support system, how we feel supported by others, how we feel supported by ourselves, there can also be that with that bracing, some real strong rules around how you receive love, how you give love, and what that needs to look like. And sometimes over guessing yourself. And the invitation is just to take a look at when there is stiffness in the middle back with the insights, to take what applies and only what applies, but try it on like a jacket. And if it's the wrong fit, you can literally go, hey, thanks for that. Doesn't fit. Here's it back. But if it just feels uncomfortable, like try it on and sit with it for a little bit and allow your body to communicate and see if you can breathe in and actually feel some of the sensations that might be trapped in that braced position.
Yeah, and it is emotional entrapment. And it's usually the mind would prefer not to feel, would prefer not to feel what's there. But once we do feel it, we actually get that relief and release. Thank you, Jackie. Sore, stiff lower back. With the word scoliosis there, interesting, right? Because scoliosis is a more advanced bone experience. And scoliosis is a veering of the spine from the center alignment. And the lower back sits very much in the place of power. It sits very much about how we experience our power, how we enjoy our power, and also our willingness to share our power. So the lower back has a lot to do with the intimate relationships that we have, so the one-on-one relationships that we have. I'm not necessarily talking about intimacy in the way that a husband and wife may have, but intimacy as in closeness, intimacy as in friendships, intimacy as in one-on-one relationships. And so it's really looking at what is the conflict that's there? Is there a part of me that's stifling it and therefore holding it inappropriately rather than allowing that expression or that exchange to take place? Is there a binding that's going on? Each time there's something minor or major that shows up, it's usually to do with a conflict that I perceive. So it's really looking at being able to enable the release of those binds by understanding them, and usually by emotionally understanding them, therefore by feeling them.
Nice,
Good
Sean. Really
example.
nice. Sorry, go, Christy.
Well, I'll go to the next question. Why does it feel as if I will never tone the three different sections of my glutes, regardless of how much exercise I do? Possibly an odd question. It's never odd when it comes to the body, but it feels as if I pull a caboose. And I think the key phrase that you just put in is it feels like I'm pulling a caboose, in that we're looking at the base of the body. It's not coincidental that you use the word caboose. And it's also a pulling, like almost that it's too heavy. In the body, our soft tissue is representation of our emotional response to what's happening inside us, what's happening, how we're processing what's happening coming at us. And when there's lack of tone in a muscle or lack of consciousness, and it seems flaccid, and we're going to go into this when Linda goes into a part meditation, there's something that I would say is calling your attention that needs you to sit in the base, to be conscious in the base, and not this fast, but to literally sit in the base and ask the base, tune into your own system. What is it that is asking or wanting to be heard? I could give you 100 different things of what I think it would be, and I don't think that's helpful because it's not my body. It's asking you to sit in it. And so if we're talking about weak tissue, what is it that I might not want to feel or access from my base? Base in energetics is about loyalty, belonging, having enough, safety, security, love, feeling supported in our base. Those are the things that I would bring into your awareness when you ask that part of the body. I'm listening. What is in my caboose that is trying to get my attention that I can't access it through any kind of exercise? Our bodies are so intelligent, and when we can learn to access the intelligence, which it will when we ask, and we get still and listen, it will tell you exactly what that is. Great question.
Can I just put a little statement there for Savannah?
Yes.
Savannah, what is it like for you being a part of the human race? You don't need to answer it. It's a question to consider. Because you belong here, and therefore you occupy time and space, and we have the pleasure of experiencing you here. But what is that like for you?
Great question. Yeah.
Linda, would you like me to play with Lena's statement?
I haven't seen Lena's statement yet.
Lena's statement is there any difference between the S shape of the scoliosis to start from the right or the left side? The answer is yes. Yes, it does make a difference which way it's veering. If it's veering to the left, then it's veering away from life. If it's veering to the right, then it's over-armoring. It's making itself bigger in life. So it's there to protect. It's offering a protection or needs protection, extra protection. The bone is very much what our current mental perspective is. And so any bone movement, alignment, misalignment also shows us a statement of truth that the mind currently perceives or believes.
And the scoliosis, just as a reminder, you're looking at internal conflict when you start to see scoliosis appear, particularly if it appears at the teenage years. That would be the first port of call to see what's the internal dialogue, what's the push and pull with regard to how that support system works as well. And that of course, sometimes people are born with scoliosis, so it tells us about the ancestral history. But when it happens as a teenager or in early adulthood, we'll always look at the conflicts that they're experiencing as first port of call. And the pull within the muscles themselves, because those muscles contain an attitude. So we're really trying to understand what the attitude is and how that can actually shift and change with awareness. And it is possible for the scoliosis to change. We see it as people work with their emotional conditioning, how that can actually directly relate to straightening the spine.
Another piece I want to add to that is taking out the word scoliosis. Most everyone, when they're stressed that gets to a very high level, will get an S-shaped twist standing. What will happen is the muscle tissue actually gets contracted. Shauna was a very good example of what's happening internally, pulling away from life, getting too mental. So as you can pay attention to when you're looking in the mirror, which side is turned away or forward, because it gives you information about how your body is processing what is happening. And that S shape, that twist that gets created in the mid back, because that's where it starts to get created, will create pain in the hips as well. It becomes like a domino. One thing happens, this twists, our head has to do this to stand straight, then our hips torque. And over a long period of time, the pattern of the torque creates pain. It doesn't necessarily have to be scoliosis to get an S shape. It's something that's very common. And if you're aware that when you're twisting, to pay attention, roll your back out. And we'll go over meditation with Linda about how to access what's the twist about, what's happening that I'm contracting against or moving away from. It's great information in the back to give you more awareness about what's happening down here instead of up here.
What's the current bind? What's the current bind? And Lena, that's kind of the statement that helps with your next question. When the bone is bending in the lumbar side to the right, thoracic will be the left, and the opposite condition. Yes, because balance is balance. So when something is out of balance, something else will also move in order to establish balance, but it's an illusional balance, and it also has a breaking point, right? So it's about bringing everything back into the center, back into alignment again.
with healthy movement in between.
Mm.
Yeah. And with that as well, I just had a thought and it's just popped out and disappeared very quickly from my mind. So that one obviously wasn't meant to be.
There it goes.
Yeah, no, there it goes. Okay, so do we have any other questions that want to be answered before we move on into exploring a little bit of the tension and the pain that's in the body? Is there a different meaning for the right and left here?
Yes. Yes, there is. So relative to which part of the body is moving or veering in which direction, the further the veering, the more the extreme attitude or behavior that will take place. So the right is the masculine, which is the external, and the left is the feminine, which is the internal. So one part can move in one direction and another part can move in another direction. So then we have an even greater conflict that's happening because there's different parts of myself that are moving to opposing positions rather than coming together. So this is where we need to look at what is the masculine response, what is the feminine response,
Yeah.
in order to bring that alignment back into what we know is the loving relationship, which is the masculine and the feminine united.
Can I ask a by voice message? It's better. I'm sorry, but the question will be like when there is a deviation to the right side from the thoracic area,
Yes.
is it so automatically it will be on the left because of the balance for sure. But the thing is, in the psychosomatic, is there is a different meaning when the version will be starting from the right thoracic and then to the left lumbar and the opposite versus what does it mean? And this one, this also, what does it mean? Understand
Yes.
me?
Yes, I do. So if we think of the spine and your conversation, you've got the thoracic right hand side pushing out would be creating bravery, because the left hand side is feeling very vulnerable, and that's why it's pulling away on that feminine side on the lower back. And if you switch it, then you've got somebody who's actually drawing away from life, but the conflict is going to be about a masculine in their life because that right hand side thoracic is pushing out.
Mm-hmm.
And you could change the word masculine also to represent authoritative figures, which represent the masculine energy as well.
Yeah, so imagine the pieces and which direction they're moving in, Lena, and then you'll be able to notice when you have a conversation with that person, where where does my conversation need to begin? Okay, which part of them feels most vulnerable? If they're feeling incredibly threatened, the lumbar spine will move in either direction, and the thoracic is also in response to that.
Mm. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're really welcome. You're really welcome. And understand that the conflict is within us. Even though we may be experiencing something that is external to us, we're also the ones that are asked to process it, understand it, comprehend it, and enable ourselves.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Thank you
The,
so
co-
much.
the conflict also could be perceived. So others may not see it as real, but for you internally, it's going to be real. So often it can be around perception. So as you change the perception and you change the relationship with whatever's happening, you also change the story and the framework. And in psychosomatics, we're talking on today's topic about reframing. And if we take a look at the frame of the body, we need to take a look at the posture alignment and how the body is actually framed to support you, because all of that framework and how it's racked and stacked makes a difference in terms of how the body receives and senses information around, how it perceives safety, and all of that affect the spine as well. So
Mm.
it's all interconnected.
Mm.
Christy, any
Mhm.
additional comments from you?
Yeah, the teacher in me, because I'm aware that you just took the course, to put it into perspective, that will come. I think it can be a very complex question, even hearing the answer when you're very new to the work. I promise you it will land and you'll understand it, giving it a little bit more time and feeling into what you just heard and maybe listening to it again a few times so you can feel what was said, not just try to intellectualize and make sense of that. It will land, but sometimes it takes like 6 months to a year to really, oh, I see it. Oh my gosh, I didn't, you get it here, but not here,
Mm.
until you see it and you experience it and you let the emotions move through whatever the binding is. And then there becomes a knowing that is not intellectual. And I promise you, you'll understand it eventually.
Mhm. Thank you.
Mara has popped in there hyperflexibility. I kind of think of hyperflexibility like a flag in the wind.
That's a good description.
Um, and and that um, often we need to be able to make a stand. Often we need to be able to create a stable base in order to interact in life from, or we become a complete reaction to life rather than an interaction.
A stable caboose,
Mm.
word of the day. And I think hyperflexibility, it's also depends on where it's at
Mm.
in the body. There are different meanings to where it's at because the body has gives us quite a bit of information. Some people have it on one side more than the other, one hip more than the other. So these questions are fabulous, and they also would be required to be have more questions asked.
And Mara, also take a look at the boundaries as well, because if you're hyper flexible, sometimes your boundaries can easily be pushed. So there might be lessons to learn and comprehensions to learn about enforcing boundaries, because people may find a different way to go around you. So they do that extra push and you have that extra flex. So
Mm.
definitely boundaries.
Mm. Or you allow people to take more advantage of you than others may.
Mm.
Thank you. My little
Mm.
ones are double and triple jointed.
Yeah, right.
Not me. I don't
Got
think.
it. Got it.
They
Which
have the
makes them
right
very
bubbles.
fluid.
Okay, so the next question we have is tightened muscles in the jaw, more so right side and the cheek area. So when we start to see that there's tightness, we're looking at an attitude that usually comes either through holding tension, and you'll notice that if the jaw is locked, the hip usually will have a corresponding lock, as will the right knee. So we're taking a look at the right side of the body. So it's the action side. So there can be some bracing, hesitation, or some emotions of being frustrated with others on the outside world that may be creating some additional tension on the right side. And again, you just sort of feel into if that has any resonancy. And yeah,
Yes,
Christy.
the beauty of our expression.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have had jaw pain, I think, truly since I was little tiny. I fell and dislocated and broke out my teeth when I was tiny. And ever since then, I've had jaw pain. And also, one of my greatest challenges have been to speak up, have good boundaries, be clear, and all of that. Most of the pain on my jaw is on the right side. How I notice and work with it is to pay attention when I'm clenching more, to ask myself, what is it that needs to be spoken? Is there a boundary that needs to be set? What am I frustrated about? And when I pay attention, and I'll also massage it quite a bit, it moves with me. It's never gone away. I would hope that it would, but it's not painful. I work with it because it's part of what is there without thinking it's something wrong with me or it's not going to go away. Sometimes there can be this idea that, oh, I'm doing something wrong. No, sometimes that's part of what you're learning as part of your path as well. And I know for me, that would be mine with jaw pain and TMJ for years.
And as we're taking a look at that whole thing around conversation, the suppression of emotions when people actually have to bite back their words, that directly relates to, to the jaw. So whether it's on the left or the right side, it's often will show up in the nighttime state because people are busy, active, don't quite get back to looking at those areas that were causing frustration during the day. So in the nighttime, it's trying to find an outlet of expression as well. And thank you, Sean. We've just got here, is it related to the hip as well? And Sean has replied, the mouth and the hip are interrelated. Perfect. Okay, so being on the topic of tension in your body, I'm just going to ask you all just to make yourself comfortable. Take in a nice breath. And as you're breathing, just to notice your breathing pattern. And maybe make your out-breath slightly longer. And imagine through the crown of your head that you're receiving a sensation of what your crown feels like. And I'd like you to commence just a little bit of a body scan, but as you're going down your body, you might go directly to this. I'd like you to sense where in your body there is pain, there's tension, there's a chronic holding pattern. Even if the tension is not there today, you might be aware of where you carry stress in your body. And if you do have a pain, I'd like you now to bring your full awareness into this area of your body. And imagine that you're getting to know this part. You're not trying to get rid of the pain. You simply have a curious mindset. Maybe going close to it with your mind's eye, just allowing it to be there. Breathing in really gentle breaths of noticing. I'm noticing you. And breathe in fully and just release fully on the out breath, maybe through your mouth. And continue to notice this pain. Now maybe approach it from a slightly different side. What does this pain feel like? Does it feel new? Does it feel familiar? Does it feel like it may be trying to convey something to you? And just to be aware There is no right or wrong. It's just noticing. And as you're noticing, notice if there's any change relating to this tension. Is there anything that your body is asking for you to release or to notice? Is it okay for you to release? Maybe the release of worry, the release of stress, the release of frustration, the release of everything that isn't required in this moment. Just to be present here and now, purely with your body, leaving all distractions aside that you can come to later. And let your body know, I'm listening. I'm available to hear what you have to say. I'm really listening. And I'm safe. Now on your next in-breath, I'd like you to take in a nice breath of breathing in the air, breathing in love, breathing in universal support, breathing in the breath of life that nourishes, rejuvenates, inspires, and connects you to the outer world. And on your out breath, releasing your breath out into the world. And before we come back to see if there's any additional insights from your body, and to give thanks to your body for providing you some insights, for being your vehicle to carry you through life, to honor it as a sacred place, and to know that it is loved and you have love and support around you always, that you can access through your breath. When you're ready, just wiggle your fingers and your toes and come back to us. And if anyone wants to share either in taking themselves off mute or in chat, if you wanted to share any insights that you had, you may have felt something you may not have. No right, no wrong, just is. Christy.
That was lovely, Linda. Made me want to get a snuggly and lay down and just relax. It was beautiful. Thank you. As you stay in that space, we're going to do one more exercise. And this exercise is to help your vagus nerve, which is a cranial nerve that is a very long nerve that comes from the head all the way down to the belly. It's a nerve that can make you feel nauseous if it's overactivated. If it's has too much stimulation, it can really affect your digestion. It can affect your heart rate. It sometimes can even affect your immune system, because if your stress level is staying high, your immune system goes down. So it's very important to practice these regulation techniques, especially if it's long term that you're in that state of overwhelm or fight or flight. This is a very easy pause that you can do, and it will help you, especially if you're feeling anxious. We, in somatic work, we use language as such a tool. If I'm feeling a knot in my stomach or I'm feeling nervous, this one specifically will help that, because it helps to settle the stomach, helps to settle the mind. So what I would like you to do, and you're welcome to keep your eyes open because you might want to watch me. This is something you can do sitting. It's something you can do lying down when you get in bed. What we're going to do is take a deep breath in and just pause at the top for 2 seconds. And then when you let it out, open your mouth and have a sigh. So you actually hear your sigh. It's a very important piece to actually hear sound of your own self when you're breathing. So first we're going to start on the side. So just on the right below the ear, at the jawbone, right under the jawbone, because that vagus nerve runs down along the sides of our neck. And what we're going to do is you're going to do a clockwise, so towards the collarbone, just small circles. And this is light. You don't want to push hard because that can be really tender. Push very lightly, and you're doing a few circles for 1 or 2 minutes. You can do a single, or you can do them together. You're going to massage that, nice and gentle. And then you're going to come behind the ear. Let's see if I can move my ear. So right here on this bony part on both sides, same thing. You're going to do circles towards your collarbone. That's probably going to be the easiest way, so you'll remember, down and towards the collarbone. So light massages there. If you have jaw pain or tension, this might be tender. It's a great exercise to do to loosen that up. Again, 1 or 2 minutes per side. I would highly recommend, if you can, use an essential oil. If you have one, if you're really stressed, like lavender or a blend for relaxation, because you'll bring in your senses more with the smell and the movement. Very helpful. Massaging towards the collarbone. And the next one, you're going to find your collarbones. Collarbone's right here, this bone here. If you bring your fingers to the center and then come off the edge, just so you're on underneath both sides, there's a little divot. Sean's a good example. We can see his chest. There's a little divot there. Same thing. Now you're going to do massage again. And you don't need to push hard. This is light. This helps to regulate the nervous system and help that vagus nerve. And while you're here, just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Hold it at the top. And then you're going to let it out with a sigh. The whole process of this is to bring our center here. Bring our center here and notice our body. If you get overwhelmed and you're at work, this is a very good one to do. It'll pull you out of your head and the worry and the looping into your body. And it is a practice. It's its own magic wand. Your body knows what to do with it, and it will settle back down and then do your day. So that's the vagal nerve massage.
Beautiful. Thank you, Christy. That was lovely.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
And Sean, you're going to do one more breath
Yes,
insight.
we can absolutely do that. So you'll notice each of the exercises that we're doing is about bringing you into your form. And for those of us that have experienced impacts, impasses, trauma, chronic pain, each of those experiences we almost eject ourselves out of the body. And the experience of safety is when we are encompassed by our body. So that sense of security is about coming into flesh, coming down into the body, even though that's where events have taken place. We still need to reclaim that space as it's ours for this eternal experience. So breath helps feed you back into your body. Yeah, back into all of the cellular experience, all of the systems that take place. So very similar to what you did earlier at the start of our program. Let's just have a little bit more of a stronger focus on what our breath is doing and where our breath is going and how to enable our breath into the body. So just notice where your breath is at this point in time. Notice how it's moving in and out of your body. Notice, is the breath similar on the in to the out? Just acknowledging how you experience your breath in this moment. And we're going to enhance that. So you can close your eyes if you want to. And so we're going to just draw our breath into different parts of the torso first, and then we'll loop it all together. So with this in-breath, I want you to be able to direct it down into the pelvis. So breathe in, pushing the breath into the pelvis. Allow yourself to experience the breath down into your belly. And out. And again. To your body, no need to be afraid of it, even though fear might be there. And out. This time, let's take our breath into the middle of our torso. So into our chest, but I want you to notice whether the rib cage expands. So breathing in, letting the ribs open up, and breathing out. Breathing in, allowing the ribs to open up and push it towards the back. Can you feel the breath push up underneath the scapula, underneath the shoulder blades? Ah. And the next one, we're going to breathe into the top of the chest, under the shoulders, and into the back of the neck, into the armpits. Almost as if your shoulders are going to lift, but they're being pushed up from the inside with the breath. You're not actually going to lift your shoulders, but the breath will be able to actually rise the shoulders. And out. So we've got those 4 places now. We've got the deep belly, we've got the rib cage, we've got the back, and we've got the shoulders. And we're going to slowly draw our breath in. And on each count, I want you to bring attention of breath to each of those places and spaces. So pace it out so it's nice and even in each of those places and spaces. Drawing in belly, ribs, back, shoulders, and out. Drawing in 1 belly, 2 ribs, 3 back, 4 shoulders, and out. Drawing in 1, 2, 3, 4. Out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathing out 4, 3, 2, 1. Allowing your breath to ease. Allowing your breath to disperse in those areas. Great. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Sean. Very nice. Okay, so we would like to give you a small tip from each of us going into the holiday season, going into the sometimes families, sometimes it can be the most challenging time of year for people. So we are not anticipating you're going to have a challenging time, and we're wishing you the best festive season. But if you do find yourself at a point where you're going, okay, I'd just like to relax, my tip for you is actually a Reiki tip, and I've kind of customized it slightly. So the tip goes, just for today, I let go of all worries. For today, I let go of all stress. Just for today, I let go of all anger. Just for today, I let go of anything that is not serving my highest being. Just for today, I experience gratitude. Just for today, I acknowledge myself, my place in this world. Just for today, all is okay. Thank you. Christy, your tip, please.
Thank you, Linda. Love that. As I'm thinking about going into the holidays, one of the most important things we can do when we get overwhelmed and stressed is to come back into the body. Sean did some beautiful breath work exercises. So to place your hand, one hand on your heart and one on your belly, and literally feel your breath move in and out. And one of the things that just came to me, that's one of my favorite phrases, Dr. Wayne Dyer used to teach it all the time. What you think of me is none of my business. It's a fabulous thing to remember around family and friends. What you think of me is none of my business, and come back into your body. I am my business. And the breath goes in and the breath goes out, keeping it very, very simple. I am my business and I am here now. That would be mine.
Beautiful, Christy. I love that.
Thanks, Christy.
Sean.
Yes. And this season is about unifying families, which in itself, sometimes they may or may not know what unify actually is. So my statement for you is please be the carer of yourself that you always longed for.
Love that.
Beautiful.